So I work with a global consortium of people who say they've got information that will literally change the world, but they can't divulge it to the general public because they've been barred from doing so. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but you can verify that I'm totally fine. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm not a mentally ill in any way, etc. and so on. Like, I'm probably one of the most credible people you could meet prior to starting this in 2018. So, like, I have a master's degree in finance. I've been a credible person and a pillar in the community. I've never smoked pot. I've never done any drugs except medications. I'm super healthy. I've got a great credit score, 800 plus. I think it's like 820, 830, something like that. Let's see. I was a college athlete. I worked at a hedge fund. I was a global macroeconomic hedge fund, and I was a chief. I started just a basic analyst, market analyst, capital markets researcher, and I worked my way up over about seven-ish years to K1 partner. They asked me to be K1 partner and offered me a job as chief technology officer, chief risk officer, even though I'm more of a stock guy. But I manage much of their technology. And so this information that these people have is just like no bullshit, right? So if you believe in magic, like God or Allah, Buddha, Jesus, or magical Buddha, Jesus, all that stuff, and magical Zen states of meditation, astrology, this video is not for you. This is like facts. Those are imagined things, and loosely based off of history, kind of like a period fiction book, or Harry Potter, for example. And if you think the world is not in disarray and very violent and very, you don't think the world is polluted and things like that, more of the center left, but some of the conservatives as well, this video is not for you either. And my video series is not for you. I'm not interested in talking to you about this, not because you're a bad person, just because probably you were misled along the way and you assume dangerously too much. We call it a cult of assumption. And that cult of assumption allows, I say this many times in other videos, allows taking people to take advantage of that assumption. You might say, well, I don't assume anything that's terrible or bad. Well, first of all, you believe many people who I disallow or don't want to watch these videos believe in assume magic. It's just not, that's a massive assumption. And what that does is it puts you in a pattern of assuming things about things and people that are just not true. And what that bridges the gap into is believing, trusting, having faith in, defending at all costs a leader, a Trump, a Putin, a Hitler, a Mussolini, Genghis Khan, Nile and 9 hostages, and so on. And those people have raped and pillaged, literally and figuratively, most of them, in one way or another, the world. I'm not accusing every one of those as a rapist, because they'll take this video down. But you know what I'm saying. Terrible for the world. And what we're trying to do, that's a type of taking. And so is capitalism. So the way we live now, right, almost entirely focused on capitalist ventures, you work for vacation. You work for retirement. You're not working to live, right? Many of us. And if you are working to live, you aren't, most jobs, you aren't like top notch. You aren't considered a pillar in the community like I was. And similar, we work for taking people and taking ventures and so on. And a lot of people say, well, I work for my children. Well, those are more of the givers, but to what extent is it benefiting you directly? Like, is it really all, could you be self-sufficient and live much, much better and have much more time with your children and so on? Like those types of things. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. These people, it's a global consortium of research scientists and operators who work secretly. I used to phrase it different, but that gets you in the conspiracy wacko feeds, and I don't want anything to do with conspiracy theorists. So if you could, go to confluenceinfinite.org. What I work on is Confluence Infinite International. We came up with the name with the global consortium of people helping me, and they work in ways that you would not imagine are true, but you can literally verify. I know people who have verified it, and they know that I'm right, but they're not allowed to talk about it. They're not allowed to converse about it. And it's pretty scary stuff. We're literally trying to lawfully and peacefully create global harmony by creating outperformance societally and biologically, so evolutionarily, for the most truly verifiably healthy human-focused person, whether they're religious or not. Because it's not whether you're religious or not. It's not whether you take more or not. It's how much you want to do that, how much you need to do that, how much you're drawn to do that. And would you rather, if given a chance, do something else, focus on something else? Many people who are religious or want to, or engage in a taking or escaping behavior, so taking's work or a business, escaping's vacation or retirement or sabbatical or similar, right? Or just taking a longer lunch break, right? So if you're engaged in that, some of us don't want to do that. We would like an alternative, but when someone talks about it or experiments about it, they have always used something that turns into cult, which is really unhealthy. We don't want to do that. We want to do the opposite of that, basically. Something that's truly harmonious and good for us. And the other people use community models, like putting people together who are not comparable, not similar, not compatible. And that community, which community, by the way, is a hangover, I'm told, from religion, religious sects or religious paradigms, I don't know, thought ideas that are philosophical and magic-y, right? And we don't want to put an end to that. We want to, and well, those people who do that, many of them are so terrified by the way the world is, so misled and in difficult spots that they cope with the terrible reality that we live in with what? With religion, right? And with capitalism, workaholic, what is that? Drugs, alcohol, escaping to a different, live on desert island, etc. Like all of those things are trying to get away from the coping with the reality, much of it, not entirely. And we're trying to get people to get engaged with the problem in lawful ways that are truly, verifiably healthy human focused, truly giving in a human focused way, truly reasonable. Because when you look at the world, so the way that we work is we work at this community model where we have to deal with everybody. We have to get everybody to agree, and that isn't necessary. if you think about it and back away from the problem a little bit, you can see that if you look at the world only for certain types of reasonable people, because there's different types out there and they're all fantastic, truly reasonable, truly giving people, not the one pretending to be. Those people, if you group them by category, opt in, like they want a better way to live, and live in a different way on the family, individual, and personal levels that is verifiably in line with your biology, so consistent with your 98 to 99% great ape DNA. So think gorilla, bonobos, and chimpanzee. But we're different. We're based on giving, and so is this way of living. And apparently it got extinguished from humanity some 2 to 10,000 years ago. So I'm just posting another video because YouTube wants me to keep the content coming and keep people in the habit of and possibly encourage you to contact me. There's no obligation. I'm not a weirdo. I'm just in a weird situation, seriously. So if you could take this seriously and watch the other videos and ask critical questions, turn the screws and say, hey, what about this? And nobody's done that, which is very curious. Not a single person. I've got not a lot of views, like, I don't know, over 1,000 views now, and not a single person has engaged me in that. So I'm headed to Florida right now. I think I'm in Missouri still, and I'm going to stop over at Indiana University, so Bloomington, Indiana, and then I'm supposed to go to Dade County, Florida. I kind of want to go to Key West, but anyway, Dade County, Florida, Miami area. And what they want me to do is sort of as a stopgap. It's not going to solve the world's problems, because the problem is what I detail in my other videos and what I continue to will continue in other videos. But what we want to do is we want to populate. Part of the problem is that truly verifiably healthy human-focused people are underperforming. So having less children, less time with their children, and sometimes no children, or children with people who are unbeknownst to them, so artificial insemination. A lot of the LGBTQ plus community are doing that, and that is apparently leaning into the taking context within which we live, because the people who largely, not entirely, donate sperm to a sperm bank are takers. There's some accumulated, like overtly, like really, really bad. I don't know the exact biology or psychology, but anyway, the sort of center of the road, more caring feelings, so a little more liberal, not the far extreme left and not the far right left, and some conservatives who are reasonable and just, maybe grew up conservative or something. We're trying to get those people to procreate in areas where we can change the vote. We can take over, not by force, not by doing anything irresponsible, but literally have more children. Because why? Because we want the world to be better, and it's a proactive act. And it's not the solution, again, but who's having a ton of kids, lots and lots of children? People who believe in magic, unreasonable people who don't understand the world, people who vote for Trump, people who voted for Putin, MAGA, North Korean people, and so on, that are just don't know what's really going on. And those people do that because, for many reasons, but the end result is they are not feeling the consequences of the reality. Maybe they're escaping into some, religious idea or a magical idea, and others just simply don't sense or get or have the intelligence or the awareness, like literally neurological response to the stimulus that is outside. Like literally, we are going backwards. Well, not the truly verifiably healthy human focused people, but we're not going backwards, we're going extinct because we're not having as many children and as many sort of mentally healthy children, because we feel, well, gosh, we want to provide well for them. The world is tumultuous and so on, right? So we pull back from that a little bit. It could be just one child, per couple or group. So we're trying to populate the Florida in key areas and totally lawfully, and have people go down there to Florida. So if this appeals to you and you want to go to Florida, it's a movement. And I'm playing the guitar, writing sort of anthem music and stuff to try and get it going. I'm not I was put up to it by this global consortium of research scientists and stuff and operators. But it's musical. I'm okay. It's not great. It would be great if we had real people who really had feelings and care and not interested in another MAGA movement, not interested in another Trump, to go down to Florida, move to Florida, become legal residents in key areas. And if they gerrymander or change those areas, we'll change location and have lots and lots of kids in environments that are in line with our biology, with nothing assumed, for optimal health. And those are non-traditional families. You don't have to live in one. You don't have to live in one with me. But if you want to live truly in line with your biology, with nothing assumed, they're non-traditional families. So I'm working on putting my notes together. I'm on the road, I'm sorry about the generator noise, but I got to stay cool and have the electricity going. But anyway, let me know if you're interested, and I'm going to try and work on getting out the more education part of these, which I think is more convincing to truly reasonable people. They say, well, give me the facts, right? Well, not a single person has any interest so far in helping me with this. They either think I'm nuts, lying, or I don't know, confused or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. So do something about it and contact me. Either if you know me personally, a lot of people out there know me personally, and know what a reasonable person I have been, and I still am. So thank you. Visit the website or contact me. Thanks.